house hacking, renting out rooms to cover mortgages. Nick, we keep saying house hacking, but like, could you define what house hacking is? And then like, what would make a good deal? Is it all the same type of house hacking? Is there different types? Some of us who are beginners, like where do we start to educate ourselves and understand this principle?
I think the term is from Bigger Pockets. I think that's who crowned the term, the house hacking. Basically, people have been doing that for so long. It's just a catchy term. And I feel like they infuse software into it, the hacking. But basically, it is you are living in a place almost for free and other people pay your rent. So I do think that's house hacking. At least that's what I see. Please feel free to join, to jump in. And then to me, there are different level of the house hacking. I think I think if somebody is completely new to a city and then to a place, and I love renting out room by room idea. I just think that's a great way to also learn about the local culture, things like that. So I think that's wonderful. If you want some space, I do think it's split entry style. I think it's the best because if I'm thinking about real estate, especially in Seattle area, I can thinking about the different styles. There's a one-story, there's a one-story with basement, there's two-story, traditional two-story. Those are the first level, it's all living, and then upstairs is a bedroom. If I do house hacking in that situation, normally it's not the best because I will be living on the same level, my bedroom, with all the roommates. But I think split entry would be good because it's kind of two separate living spaces. So there are living room upstairs, a family room downstairs. So when I live downstairs, I could be having my own space. And some split entry even have its own kitchen or kitchenette downstairs. So I think that would be even a better situation for house hacking. And then I think there's another, it's a tri-level in the Seattle area. I don't think that's the best for house hacking because a lot of the third level, the tri-level is you go the middle, that's a living space. You go half downstairs, half stairs downstairs to a living room, half go upstairs to normally 3 bedrooms. So I don't think that might be the best unless there is some extra bedrooms downstairs. So so those are all the room sharing kind. And the second kind, I think, especially people, in my opinion, who are a couple, who have families, still want to do house hacking, the best is always duplexes, non-conforming duplexes, triplexes. Those are the best for house hacking. But I realize more and more people realize that. So especially for the average, those kind of duplexes, actually, when we are helping client to make an offer, a lot of bidding against us, it's not actually investors. It's actually people who are living on one side, renting the other side completely out. So actually, because of that drive the market is even higher because they don't use the same investment criteria compared to a normal investor, right? A pure investor, because they were living in one unit, they rent out the other one. So normally they go even higher. So that's another thing why I enjoy small multifamily, which is a 4-unit and below investing, because they enjoy the appreciation of the just like a single family house, rather than a bigger multifamily. It's completely investor focused. Anyway, so those are what, at least in my mind, 2 kinds of the house hacking. One's room sharing, so it depends on what style of the house is. The other, it's a small multifamily, 4-unit and below. And then I do think those could be great house hacking. So go back to you, Josh. I think for you, it would be wonderful if you buy something, because you said that's one of your goal this year, to buy something non-conforming and then have a separate living space. So you and your girlfriend can live in one and then you can rent out the other one, or official duplexes or triplexes. I think all those will work out well, and then make you even cover your mortgage entirely.
What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I was gonna. Joey brought up some really good points. Nick brought up some really good points. Going into our question, what is a good house hacking property? I think Nick brought up the split entry. I think a couple of the first properties we got involved in were split entries, and we actually split them in half, where we took the stairwell that goes up and down, and we put because there was only one laundry unit in the house, we actually put an additional laundry unit in the stairwell and closed it off. So we completely separated the two units. This is, of course, this is all very risky stuff because you got to do this. You know, you can go hire it out and get it permitted, but that's, you know, we just did everything as we wanted to. We just put a new washer and dryer in and did all this stuff and split it up. But I think split entry is really good. But when I first started doing this, I had a search criteria, and my search criteria was second kitchen. And I looked for the cheapest houses I could find with second kitchens. And if you have MLS access, some of us are agents. Josh here, an agent. There's another guy said he just got his real estate license. When you do your search criteria, look for properties that have second kitchens. And, you know, I think they're not always permitted. They're not always, you know, very attractive. But that actually drives a lot of people away. A second kitchen in a house pushes a lot of people away. And you'll actually find some really good deals on houses with second kitchens, because a lot of people are scared whether it's not permitted, or they're scared whether it's, you know, they just don't like it. They think it makes the house unattractive, or they don't need a second kitchen. So you actually find a lot of good deals on houses with second kitchens. In fact, I'm closing a deal tomorrow with a first-time home buyer. We were looking at houses in Bothell, and you know, prices were going up so fast, we ended up getting something in Everett because it was all they could afford. But we found this great, big, awesome, like almost 3,000 square foot house, very well maintained, built in 1980, so it's really solid. And it has a second kitchen. And we're like, why is this house still on the market? You know, and that was one of the reasons, aside from the fact they were only offering 2% commission, and also, the pictures were terrible, and the house wasn't vacant. So all these little things, these are the kind of things you look for when you're looking for a good house hacking property, because it all equates to cheaper price, right? What is a good house hacking property? A cheap house, a house that you can do more with and pay less for, right? So I think that, you know, all these little things, you got to look for these houses. Nick said that he's going to wait. He's going to wait until the right house comes along. That's crap. He's not going to do that. He's going to look for houses every single day until he finds one that works, right? And that's what you got to do. You got to look at the MLS every single day. You can't let up. You've got to be relentless until you find that house. Or maybe you've been looking every day and you're like, I've been seeing this house. What's wrong with this house? What's wrong with this house? Why is nobody buying it? Maybe I should go check it out, right? Oftentimes you find houses aren't listed properly. And sometimes the worst agents make the best deals, right? As an agent who sees what other agents do, I'm like, oh, this house is terrible pictures. There's like no pictures. The house is occupied by tenants. It's a rental property. Nobody wants it, right? Why is it still on the market? All these reasons. That's probably a deal. That's probably a deal waiting to be had by some smart investor who knows how to jump on it and go in there and do what it needs to get it rented out. So all these little things add up to a deal, and that's what you want. What are the specifics to look for? When Joey was looking for a house, his criteria was it had to have 4 bedrooms or more. It couldn't be a 3-bedroom house. It had to have 4 bedrooms. Because what does that mean? That means if you're going to house hack, if you're going to live in the house, that's 1 more room worth of rent you're going to get, right? And so so Joey did that. And I find sometimes houses are listed. I found houses that are listed as a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, and you get there and you're like, wow, this house actually has 5 usable rooms. They might not be qualified or classified as a bedroom, but you could use it as a bedroom, right? So you get there and it's like, wow, this house has actually 5 rooms or 6 rooms, you know? So those are the things you got to look for. You got to look at the pictures. You got to look at the pictures and figure that stuff out. I've purchased houses where it was listed as a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and I went there and there was a whole extra half bath. It was like, wow, that's a bonus. They didn't list that very well, right? So these are all things you got to look for. You got to be relentless looking at the MLS. So all these things make good house hacking properties. And again, I want to go back to Joey's strategy. Joey's strategy, he did, like he said, he didn't have a lot of money, but he had a budget and he knew what his budget was. And it was $550,000. I remember that number. I remember that number because we threw $550,000 at every single property we possibly could until one stuck. And one day we threw $550,000 at a property and we got it for $485, and we were both blown away. And, you know, I look back on it and I think, gosh, why did nobody want this property? Why? It was one of those properties that you had to go see to understand why nobody else wanted it. Why did nobody want it? Because it didn't have a backyard. Did it need a backyard to be a good house hacking property? Heck no. Joey's like, this is the one. I don't need a backyard. In fact, it barely even has a front yard. That's why nobody wanted it. you know? So there's a lot of good reasons and good things to look for. You just got to be relentless. You got to just go and look for the deals and try to figure out why houses haven't sold. And he brought up too, you know, don't be scared, just jump on it. Yeah, just jump on it, just get it done. Because the longer you wait, the more the prices are going to go up. We haven't seen them go down in a long time. And I don't think that trend's going to change. So,
yeah. Actually, there's one thing I want to add. That's why, you know, why I was saying that the maintenance cost was so low, and I was so happy with that. There was no backyard. There's nothing to maintain, and I even barely have a front yard. Right? I don't need to bother to, you know.
The best, yeah, right. The best rental house is one that doesn't require any maintenance. For a long time, we sold townhomes. We like townhomes in Seattle because they're all pretty new. They don't have a lot of issues that can go wrong with them, and there's no yards to take care of. Right? All this stuff adds up, and it's easy to turn over. So these are all things you learn as you go. But yeah, you got to know what to look for. But I like the Joey's 4-bedroom minimum criteria. My favorite one that I thought was pretty good was always look for houses with a second kitchen, because you can do a lot more with that. And they're not attractive to everybody, so you can often find a deal. And don't be afraid about whether or not something's permitted. Just buy it. Deal with it later. Anyway, that's all I got.
Hey, Brian. This is Demi. I really see the passion when you talk about this story. You're like a totally different person when I met you like 2 or 3 years ago in Seattle in the park. I see your passion here. And I kind of want to, maybe I need to stop working in a corporate and become an agent.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I love what I do. Sometimes it's frustrating, and you know, I think dealing with tenants on a daily basis, I do get tired of it. But you know, when I get an opportunity to do this and to talk to people like Joey and see new people come on here, I think it's great. And you know, the more I can help influence people, you know, ultimately I want to help people do what Joey did. I want to help people do what I helped Joey do. I love doing that, and I get a kick out of it, and I'll stick with you for years. You know, if Joey called me today and said, hey, how do I fix this? I'd let him know, and I'd probably go over there and fix it myself. Yeah. I enjoy helping people like this. So in this forum. So yeah, thank you.
I got one question. What's your Brian? What's your criteria looking for those hack properties? Like as long as it break even and it'll be fine, or you have some.
Well, and that all depends on your budget. I think so. I think yeah, you want to try to break even. You don't want to be. You want to get into something hopefully not having any negative cash flow. I think that's the first thing you look at. How much can it rent for? What's my maximum possible rental I can get out of this? And depending on what your purpose is. So if you're going to house hack, like live in the house and rent out the rooms, are you going to break even at that point? Or at least if you're going to live in it, you know, come pretty close to breaking even. But if it's going to be something that you're not going to live in, and you're just going to rent out, you probably want to focus on at least breaking even after all is said and done. And if that means you have to increase your down payment or decrease your budget, you know, oftentimes that just means increasing your down payment and finding the best possible mortgage rate you can. And like Joey was talking about refinancing, right? He didn't cash flow until he refinanced. Right now, it's easier to break even because the financing rates are so good. So that can help. And always if you can buy it as a primary residence without committing mortgage fraud, that's great. Try to do that. Try to buy it as a primary residence. And then we didn't talk about like Airbnbs and stuff like that, but people who aren't single, you know, who can't bounce around and who can't deal with roommates and that sort of thing. You know, if you have a family and kids and whatever, maybe you want to buy a house that you can Airbnb a section of it out. Again, look for that second kitchen, right? You're going to get a ton of good Airbnb value on something with a second kitchen, but it's got to be super attractive and it's got to be in a good location if you're going to try to live somewhere and run an Airbnb out of your house. That sort of thing.
Brian, could you talk a little bit of I actually don't even remember. We did Airbnb on our Kenmore house, right? Could you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, we bought a house in Kenmore. It's a really unique house, Northwest Contemporary. It's surrounded by trees. You kind of feel like you're in the forest when you're there. It was one of those houses that, you know, you have to have some passion for the type of house that it is. It's really kind of a cool style. It has a lot of windows. So it's surrounded by scenery. And so the one thing that the house really focuses on is the big windows and the scenery. You walk into the house, you see the trees and that sort of thing. The house itself is divided in a way, it's a 3-story house, but you walk into the main level and then you have the lower level and the upper level. And the upper level, because we were single at the time, we had the master bedroom at the top of the floor, at the top of the house. And then the 2 bedrooms and the additional bath were in the lower level of the house. But what we did is we Airbnb'd the lower level of the house one summer. And I think we had it booked for the entire 3 months solid of the summer that we did it, or 3 or 4 months. We didn't have a single vacancy. And I think the only reason we stopped for family reasons or whatever, but you know, I think the reason it did so well was because of the unique setting. So if you're going to do that kind of thing, you need to have something unique. You need to have a good, unique setting. And I think that holds true for any Airbnb, whether you're going to live there or not. You need to have something unique, and you need to have a good setting. We have a partner, a teammate of ours, Eva. She got this great Airbnb that she got that's right on the bluff overlooking the Sound. And, you know, it's just, you walk into the house and you see the view, and it's just amazing. And we have one too up on Camano Island, same thing. It's the views that people really come for. And sure, having a hot tub doesn't hurt, but if you're going to do like a house hack Airbnb, you got to have something unique. So you know, your criteria is a little bit different. You're not just thinking about cash flow, but what's going to get you that increased, you know, value is having uniqueness and having something that people are, you know, kind of caught off guard by. It's just not your average room rental. It's not your average, you know, whatever. And I think most of the stuff on Airbnb, if you go on Airbnb, you'll see the ones that do well and the ones that don't do well. And the ones that do well, you know, they have great pictures. You can see probably in the pictures what they have that's unique, whether it's the scenery or, you know, the surrounding area, that sort of thing. So location can be a lot, can say a lot about your Airbnb. If that's, you know, a route you choose to go. But anyway, going back to your question, it's, you know, I don't know, focus on breaking even at least breaking even, but then look at all the different things from there that you can get, and having more bedrooms to house hack, if you're going to do that sort of thing. If you don't plan on living there, then yeah, you got to find good rental properties. And what makes a good rental property? Finishes. People love new stuff. They love new fresh paint. They love new fresh carpet. They like granite countertops. They like sparkly stainless steel appliances, right? All those things. If you can find a house that has none of that, but is very easy to just put that in there without making any other changes, then that's probably a good investment, right? It's all about the layout. If you got a good layout, and say you find a good duplex, it just needs those things. It just needs new paint. It needs new carpet. It needs new appliances and maybe some new countertops. All that stuff's pretty easy to do. You know, Home Depot can do that stuff. So it's that's what you'd look for in a rental property, probably, if you were going to try to fix one up and get a good deal on it. If you can find one with all that stuff, you're probably going to pay a premium and maybe not cash flow. But hey, if you look hard enough, you might find one.
Yeah, Brian, I just want to say that next time when you find something like that, just send it away to me.
We got to buy.
He'll send it to me first, and then he'll say, "Do you want to buy this?" And then I'll say, "Too far."
Because I heard your stories about this split or not the multiplex, right? Like split one house into 2 half units. That's such a great you know, investment.
Yeah, that kind of thing is a little bit risky, right? Because you take a single family house and you basically break it up into more than that. Depending on when you do something like that, it's best not to be in a residential area. It's best to be in like a commercial area or an area where your neighbors aren't going to call the city on you, right? Yeah. I highly recommend, if you're going to do that, be willing to take on some risk, but find a property that's off the grid, you know?
Yeah, but the point is that the cost is so low. I think it costs such little money, and you know,
sure,
that's such a big income.
I mean, in some cases, all you need to do is lock a door. You know, easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I just want to jump in on one thing. I think when Joey did house hackings really well, I remember that is how Joey used the home warranty, because a lot of our investors, investment property, rental property, they also have home warranty. But actually, it's so hard to use them because when there's a water heater wrong or furnace wrong, and then there's a law how fast you need to repair them. But I just remember Joey really used his warranty for the home house hacking, like thousands of dollars saving. Is that correct?
Yeah. And
sorry to jump in, but I think if I recall, you used your home warranty to repair your hot tub. Is that correct, Joey?
yeah, I mean, I give it a try. I mean, I'm not sure if I can do that. I give it a try, and they said yes. So why not? Just go with it. Because actually, I checked the policy. That's covered, right? So I told them, hey, since this is covered, can you fix it? And they did. And I think, the heater or the motor was broken, and it just changed with a new motor. Yeah. I think
it saves you a ton of money. When you buy a house and you don't know what's going to break and what doesn't work, if you live there, having a home warranty is really a great thing. It's when you don't live there that it doesn't make any sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think I got some free warranty for the first 1 or 2 years or so. And I used that time period to fix whatever I can, right? I just keep trying to find new things and ask them to fix it. And I think once pretty much everything got fixed, then I just stopped the warranty. And yeah, and it worked out pretty well for me, right? Because the house is not old. It's built in 1994, right? So once I fixed those small things, then it went out pretty well. I didn't remember I spent big money on anything else so far.
Do you need to pay part of it, even if you have the home warranty? You still need to pay a little bit.
Yes,
right?
Every time we need to pay some visit fees. I think it's 60 or 70, but for every visit, I can fix up to 4 items, right? So I found a bunch of items, and every time with the visit, I fix like four things at the same time.
Yeah, last time for my house, I have a home warranty. My water heater was not working, and they just give me a quote, even if it's under the coverage of home warranty, but they just give me a discount price for the water heater instead of just fix it all by themselves.
Yeah, that I'm not sure, but what I know is that they are going to charge me some visitor fees. I mean, yeah, maybe Nick know more about this warranty, because it has been a while since I used my warranty.
I think Brian ordered it for you, so I'm not sure what warranty.
Too off track on home warranties, but yeah, it really depends on your home warranty coverage. I think the more you pay, the more you get. There are different levels, different plans. I think we
probably
like the mid-grade level or something, but I've never seen anyone utilize a home warranty as much as he did. I mean, if anything goes wrong, he's just like, oh, I'll call the home warranty and they'll come out and fix it. And, actively pursuing things for home warranty companies to fix. That's pretty smart. Most people don't do that. So I would definitely do that. Go around your house and try to get things to break, because you can get it fixed for $70.
Good way to get those stainless appliances you were after.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe we'll move on to number 4. What do you think, Josh?
I think that's great. You talked a little bit about it when we were talking about criteria, about if you're going to go non-conforming, maybe do it in a place that you're not going to have a lot of eyes, maybe a little off the grid. What else are you looking for in location when you're talking house hacking?
Well, if you're gonna get one of those places where you're gonna rent out rooms, you need to rent out rooms in an area where the demand for that thing is gonna, one, not only attract good people, but attract a lot of people, right? So if you're gonna do a house, I think Joey and Nick both did their first ones near. They have a lot of Microsoft people, right? And where are you gonna get a lot of good quality roommates? Because there are a good number of places where you can get roommates, but they're not going to be good roommates. Right. There are probably some towns that I wouldn't want a roommate in. So you got to kind of stay in somewhat urban areas and areas that have some demand. I think Seattle is a good place to do that. Obviously, Seattle has enough workforce and enough, of that type of housing where you could get away with that. I think the East Side for Microsoft employees, that's a good one too. Anywhere where you have sort of a transient workforce where it's constantly changing, or where you have a large workforce. Yeah. So I would stay in the urban areas if I'm going to do house hacking. It might be harder to do it in a more rural or farther out area like, Marysville or Arlington or something like that. That might be pretty hard to do. So I would make sure you're going to do that sort of thing, do it in an area where you can. And I think that allows for, if you can afford it out from the outset to get the loan for it, that makes sense to buy a house maybe a little bit out of your budget, because where else are you going to get that money to pay for that mortgage other than to get those roommates, right? So, buying a house in Kirkland, or if you can afford Bellevue, that's great, because then you could probably fill those rooms and break even. And, you could essentially buy a $700,000 or $800,000 or $900,000 house and almost have the mortgage paid for you at some point. So, depending on how many rooms you had, of course.
Joey, how did you pick the location of your house?
Well, Nick and Brian picked it for me. Like I said, all the job I need to do is find a really, really good agent, and they're going to take care of everything for me.
Okay.
That's what I did. Actually, I was rethinking about this, right? Like when I trying to buy a house in Virginia in Crystal City, I was not very satisfied with the real estate agent I find. I was thinking maybe she was just doing some fair job. It's just maybe I set a too high standard as a good agent, because the only agents I have deal with is Nick and Brian, right? So, I think that's something really important, right? If you find a good and reliable agents, then just need to delegate those things. Because like I said, I was pretty fresh. I was really fresh. I didn't have any experience at all at that time, right? I just keep hearing from Nick and Brian talking and learn those things, right? And read them through it. That's all I did.
Joey, one question for you. So your house the rental for you is basically break even. So how do you keep investing, like just out of your savings?
I have a job, right? So I, let me see. Yeah, it breaks even, and I think it broke even. Oh, okay. Let me phrase. I'm trying to recall the things. So when I get my primary home, and I think I got a positive cash flow. I think the mortgage plus including insurance and tax, I think it was like $2,200. And if I rent out 3 rooms, right? I got a 4-bedroom house. I live in one of them, and I rent out the other 3 bedrooms. And I think the total income was like $2,500. So I got like $300 positive cash flow, and plus I got a job, right? So I think income is more like, hey, I don't have to pay the rent, right? Because if I pay, that's going to be a big part of it, right? Once I stop paying the rent, then I can quickly accumulate the money and get enough down payment to buy a second house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's key. Not having to pay rent.
Yes.
Not having to basically pay your mortgage. You don't have to pay your mortgage. Somebody else is paying your mortgage for you.
I don't pay anything at all. I don't pay shit. I don't even pay, pay for people to, to mow my lawn, because I don't have backyard and front yard.
I think for us, it's a little bit different. For me, because actually Brian is very handy. So when Brian sends out property, I need to make sure every property has a lot of cash flow. And then that's how we purchased it, except the first couple that I bought, especially the first one bought without Brian. But after that, it's all, I need to make sure at least $500 cash flow for each property. And then to moving forward. That's why I completely agree with Brian. It's like when I said the market is crazy, so we should wait. When I said when I wait, doesn't mean that we're not looking at houses every day. Like every time when I sit on the toilet, actually, I pull out Redfin, I start looking at properties. That's what I love to do. I look at Redfin, look at LoopNet, just look at all the potential properties. And then I always send it to Brian. We have a lot of property. It's like one of us said it's good, but it's only those that both of us like it. and then we will go ahead to make an offer. Like even in this crazy market, actually we make an offer on a duplex in Marysville. We actually got it. There are multiple offers, but however, we are leaving the deal because there's a raw sewage going to the ground and the seller is not going to fix it. And then we just think the city is going to condemn the property if they don't fix it. So I did all the research with the city of Marysville talking about how to connect the sewer and everything, to repair the septic, to replace the septic, but the seller is not going to budge at all. So we decide to quit. But that's why when I'm saying we're waiting, doesn't mean that we're not making actions. We're still looking every day and making offers. But I do feel like the right property will come maybe in a few months when it's not this crazy, the market.
Yeah, there's always going to be deals out there. You just, like I said before, you can't let up. You have to relentlessly look all the time. And if you're really passionate about getting something or finding the deal, you just got to keep looking. I mean, you have to be addicted to Redfin. You have to be addicted to, if you're on the MLS, you have to be addicted to it. You have to. There's really no other good way to find a deal. In fact, the only time I've ever found a deal is, you know, in my daily addiction. You know, it's that's just how you find them. And sometimes deals come up, and in this market, a good deal usually isn't going to last too long. So you've got to jump on it. And if you have some advantage financially to get a good deal, that's one thing. But a lot of the times in this market, it's tough. And so finding those houses that for whatever reason have been lingering on the market, I find sometimes when I do my searches, like, you know, most people search, most agents search when they look at properties, they put in their search criteria and then they look and then they filter by days on market. And so you look at the newest properties right away because you want to see all those new properties. Lately, what I've been doing, because the market's so crazy, is I look at all the properties, I reverse it. I look at the properties that have been on the market the absolute longest, and I try to figure out why they're still on the market, or are they good? You know, sometimes they're still on the market because they're just junk, but I do my filter search by the longest amount of days on market possible, because oftentimes what happens is properties will go off the market and then they'll come back on. But they come back on with a large amount of days on market. And so then they slip under the radar, and then, you know, something that was a really good deal all of a sudden maybe doesn't look like a good deal anymore because it has all these days on market attached to it. So that's one more search tip, is look for the longest amount of days on market, not the shortest, because you might find some good deals in there.
That's a good tip. Okay, well, we've been talking for quite a while. I think our next is, you know, if anybody's working on any projects and need some help, or, you know, I know we've got a newer agent here. Tell us what you got going on. See, you know, how can we help you? How can you help us? Does anybody have anything else on their mind, real estate related, we can talk about?
Hi, this is Jim. Also, I'm new here and I just got my real estate agent, and this is also my first time to attend the online meeting, and I learned a lot. I know something about what is the house tracking, and I also grade Brian, his story, and I remembered like he said about the second kitchen. I agree with that, because I remembered the first time when I traveled to Los Angeles and I booked a bedroom through AirBnB, and that house has a second kitchen, and the room we live in with a second kitchen and with a swimming pool, a small swimming pool in the backyard. And when we first met this kind of house, we said, oh, it's amazing. So I totally understand that and agree with that. And now I still rent a house in Seattle because I just moved here for 2 years. And the previous 3 years when I lived in Poland, I also rent a house, a bedroom, and I also rent an apartment. And I just calculated, till now, almost 5 years, I spent almost $100,000 for rent. So wow, it's amazing. Why? It's crazy. And now, so I just got my real estate agent, and I want to buy a house in the future, at least beginning. So that's why today I'm here, and today I got a lot of information, and I want hope in the future I can work well with all guys here. Thank you.
Awesome. Are you licensed in Washington?
Yeah.
What area do you live in, and where are you planning?
Bellevue.
Bellevue. Okay.
Yeah. But I still waiting to receive the email from the Washington Department of License, because I just finished my fingerprint, and maybe because of the COVID-19, so I still have to wait.
Yeah.
It's already past 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard they're a little backed up ever since the COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations. That's fun. You passed the test and that's over.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have
For
fun.
me, I prepared for almost half a year. Yeah, it's too long and stressful. Still, because English is not my native language, so still a little difficult. But anyway, I passed it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to talk? Jacob, how about you? I mean, when I was 17, I knew nothing of real estate and had no head in it. I'm interested to see what your plans are for the future and where you're going with this.
Well, honestly, my plans are to get good at wholesaling and make some money. And I was going to buy some rentals and try to get some cash flow going. Yeah, that's mainly what I'm trying to do, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you've been doing it for a couple months. What's your experience been like so far?
Well, it's been pretty good. I'm just trying to find houses and look for distressed properties and stuff. But it's been hard, but I'm gonna keep going.
That's awesome. Is there anything we can do to help you?
I don't know. When I got a deal, you guys can buy it. That'd be cool.
Sure.
I think that sounds good, Jacob. Actually, we have a teammate who didn't join today, and then her name is Eva. And actually, both I think Josh and Brian mentioned about her. And then she's also trying to, she's actually starting, I think this month, taking a wholesaling class with somebody who is really good at wholesaling. So, but right now there are several projects we're trying to do. We also send out a lot of I don't remember, 400, 500 mailing a week. The result is not really good for the off market.
Yeah.
So right now what we try to do is focusing on apartments. So we compile a list of all the apartments from maybe $1 to $3 million in the North Seattle, and then try to call those apartment owners. So anyway, I'm just thinking there may be something we can collaborate, and then we're new in the, we're not trying to wholesale, we're just off-market deal, we try to get it. But if we can collaborate in that space, either for apartments or just for single family, that we can work on together. So if you want to leave your email or something, and then we can connect together. Yep, with Eva.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Anybody else working on a project? It sounds like Joey's ready to buy. So we gotta find him a property. Anybody else? Okay. So Nick, did you have any closing thoughts?
Oh no, thank you so much, Josh, for organizing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for talking and leading it so much. Okay, there's a little scan here for an email. If anybody wants to get a hold of us, we also have a little Facebook group for people to connect. Really appreciate everybody coming. Again, we're just main goal is to build community so that we can all help each other, get to where we want to go a little bit quicker maybe than doing it by ourselves. So if there's anything I can do to help anybody, please reach out. And I know that goes for Nick and Brian as well. And really appreciate you all being here and talking with me.